Hey, so Jack from Alpha Charts with a review video. So today is December 4th, 2022. Before we get started, this video is for informational purposes only, not recommendations to buy, sell, or hold any stock or security. I may hold positions, some of the equities mentioned. Know your time frame and risk tolerance. Okay, so what is this video? This video is going over last week's video. Last week was my super follow preview, we'll call it. And I gave a ton of names that I would normally give to my super follow group, and in ETF format, and then also in which is the strongest ETFs and the strongest names within those ETFs. So this week I'm in the weekly chart, SPX, and I'm going to look at this last candle. SPX was up 1.13. That's going to be our benchmark, okay? 1.13. Now, I'm going to go back through rather quickly, just looking at the names I gave y'all. Let's see how we did. I don't think this is done enough, and not done enough publicly. If we're going to all kind of, share ideas, maybe we should go back and see how we did. So I don't know how this is going to turn out, but let's find out. Okay, I have not looked at these names yet. This will be a surprise for me too. It's a good measuring stick. PBJ. So I gave I said XLP was looking good. By the way, the SPX, if we saw it, was up 1.13. That's our benchmark. So XLP we talked about was up 1.23, slightly better. And PBJ was the ETF I gave, up 0.96, slightly worse. ADM. All right, so this one kind of fell apart. You would need good risk management on that one. Bad way to start, right? Monster Energy. Good looking name here. Nice breakout, follow through. Again, did not keep up with the SPX, but and then Celsius was the other one. And this one was up 7.63, so that's a big winner. All right, next up was XLI. That was up 1%, so a little bit less than the SPX. I talked about ITA. That was up 2.2, so that one looks pretty good. I talked about XON, 0.48, FLR. That was up 4.48%. That'd been a big win. I talked about TH, 8%. That's a big win, right? Let's talk about XLV. I probably should be keeping tallies on this, right? What was more and what was worse, right? So let's Celsius, I believe, was more. I think Axon was more. Wasn't, no, it wasn't. FLR was more, 4.48, and TH. Okay, just wanted to catch up with that. So that was at XLV, right? That's next. That was up 1.92. So that was more. IBB. That was by far more. AMGN. That was not more, but still great looking setup. GMAB. That was up 6%. That was more. SRPT. Up 10%. That was a lot more. Moving on to some energy names. That one was not quite as good. We talked about IXC in this, again, not so good. And XOP Energy just didn't have a great week, right? The names, specific names we talked about was WFRD. We talked about ACDC. And we talked about CEIX, a coal name, and that was up 10%. So I got one out of those, okay? XLB was up 1.69%. That was a good one. Steel, SLX, we talked about 4.54. That was a good one. We talked about Steel Dynamics, up 5.36. That's a good one. We talked about X. That was a good one. And we talked about CMC, and that was also up 3.38%. Again, I'm looking up here. If you're not paying attention, this is where I'm looking at. So that was a good one. Materials did very good. We also talked about financials, right? Financials did not do that good this week overall, but IAI was up 1%, roughly what the index was. And KIE was up 0.95. Again, roughly what the index was. So let's see how we did on the individual names. Interactive Broker was basically roughly the same. ACGL up 3%. That's a nice one. And TRV. Travelers Insurance was down a little bit compared to the index. Okay. We talked about XLK looking pretty good, so maybe some rotation of money. So that was a little bit better than the index, right? And then we talked about solar stocks looking good, right? That was better than the index. And then we talked about ARI specifically. That one was down 4.47% on the week, okay? But it's still nice looking setup. For solar, that was down. Enphase, nice 5% pop on Enphase. Shoals, SHLS, had a secondary, so that was down 20%, right? You'd have definitely need it for risk management, but they did announce a secondary and all kinds, and I think the CEO left or something. I don't know. Problems at Shoals. And MAXN. That was down 5%. So really only Enphase in the solar group last week was actually good. So that's kind of interesting. But yet the solar group as a whole, right? Those were the leading stocks in solar, actually did okay. So underneath the surface, maybe stronger. We talked about SMH and maybe SMH, and that did what the indexes did. So that was okay. And then the names were AEHR, that was about even. MTSI, that was again not quite as good as the index. GFS, that was down 7.5%, right? So maybe SMH isn't as strong as we thought. All right, so Rambus, that was a good one. We got one good one out of that group. ALGM up 1.78, that would beat the index. And LSCC, that was up 3.17. That beat the index. All right, we talk about communication equipment. So Pi, that was down. EXTR, that was down. Again, not much, but it was down compared to the index. HLIT, that was just a little bit under the index. And SATX, that was a very volatile name that I gave right at the end. And that was down 6% a week. Again, brand new name, super volatile. Then the last part was the electronic components, SMCI, which was down 7% on the week. SANM, that was up about the index. And Flex, that was up much more than index. So there you go. Those were all the names that I gave last week in my video. And so you see there were some real big winners in there, especially in the industrials, especially in the materials, some real nice winners in there. And there were some that you had to manage risk against and be careful with. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope to do this more often because I think accountability, if we're going to give out ideas and so on and so forth, that I think there should be some accountability at that. So, maybe I'll try to do this at, maybe once a month or something. Pick a random week and just go over the names that we gave. Okay. Hope you all have a great day. Good luck trading this week.